1, 2, 3, and...
It's a rainy, moody day today, and what could be cozier than just putting on something warm, having a mug of tea, and doing some crochet. And let's make it extra cozy and fall-like and do some Halloween crochet. Today, I'm going to show you how I made these cute little boo bags. Cute little purses, just made from simple acrylic worsted weight yarn held double. I made 2 different sizes simply from changing the hook size. This one is made with a 6.5 millimeter hook, and this one is with a 5.5 millimeter hook. I would love for you to join me with this little crochet tutorial. My name is Stephanie. Welcome or welcome back. This is Imagine Our Creations, and I hope you stick around and subscribe. I have many more fun, crafty videos coming. Alright, we're gonna start with making a letter B. So I'm gonna take my hook and make a slip knot and chain 15. Now I'm going to make a loop, and I don't want this to twist, so I'm going to be very careful that it becomes a ring. I'm going to slip stitch through the first stitch to join it. Now we have our ring. And I'm going to start by doing 3 single crochets in this first stitch we're already in. I'm going to do chain 1. You don't have to. I'm going to ignore that later. So here's 1 SC, 2, and 3 single crochet. Now we are going to do single crochets in the next 4 stitches in our chain. It's always a little tricky to go through the first pass of the chain. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I am going to do 3 single crochets in each of the next 2 stitches. So this one will get 3. This next one will also get 3. We're kind of making a turn. So that made a nice little turn. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 3. And now we're going to slip stitch in the next 2. This is going to be a B, so we want to get it thinner here. So here's the first slip stitch. This chain will be the death of me. We can do it. We can do it. There's the first slip stitch. We don't yarn over. 1 more slip stitch, which is just going through and pulling a loop through. Alright, we've done 2 slip stitches. Now we're going to single crochet again in the next 2. Here's how we're looking. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets in the last one. This is my chain here, so I'm going to ignore that. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to slip stitch to my first single crochet in that first 3 single crochet cluster, and that will finish my first round. So this is the shape we'll have. When we sew it, that's when we'll kind of pinch this in here to make the B. It's just gonna look like a wobbly O for now. Alright, so one more round. I'm gonna go ahead and chain and ignore that later. And I'm going to just do 2 single crochets here. And I'm gonna do 1 single crochet. And then back to 2. Of course I need to pull more yarn out. So I've got a brand new skein here and it just doesn't want to give up the yarn. Alright, so we just did 2. Now we are going to single crochet in the next 4 along this side. We just made a little corner with 2, 1, and 2. So now we're going to do 4 along the side for the straight part of the B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do that same corner. We're going to go 2, 1, 2. So 2 single crochets in this stitch, 1 in this one, and then 2 in this one. We're going to do the same thing because we've got another corner to do. So 2, 1, 2. 1 and 2 in this one. Just 1 in this one. And 1, 2 in this one. 1, 2. Now we are going to single crochet in the next 2. We're going to slip stitch in the next 2. And single crochet in the next 2. Now we're going to do one more corner. We're going to go 2, 1, 2, and then 1, and 1, 2. And this one. So we have 2 single crochets, 1, and then 2. This is my little chain space. I'm just going to slip stitch to the loop of the first single crochet. Here is our B shape. We'll be weaving this end in. We want to leave a nice long tail for sewing. And we can just pull this through. Once we sew it on, we can really get the shape of a bee, like this. All right, to make our O, we're gonna make 2 of these. We're gonna start with a slip stitch, and we are going to chain 12. And we're again going to carefully connect it with a slip stitch in a ring. Make sure it's not twisted. Pull this through to make a slip stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, which I'll ignore later, and do 3 single crochets into the stitch I'm already in. And I'm going to go 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Now in these next 2 stitches, I'm going to do 3 single crochets in each one to make a curve around the bottom. Now we're going to go single crochet in 4 stitches again. Now in this stitch, I'm going to do 3 single crochets. Now I'm just going to slip stitch my little chain 1 gap closed and closed around. And we have the first layer of our O. So next we are going to do 1 more round. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to 2 single crochet in the stitch. Just like with our bee, we're going to make a corner by doing 2, 1, 2. So the next one has 1 single crochet, and then we do 2. And we got 1 corner done. Now we're going to single crochet in 4 stitches. And I'm going to do a corner again. I'm going to go 2, 1 and 2. I'm going to do 1 in this one, and 2 again. Now I'm going to do that corner again. 2, 1, 2. 1 and 2. Just 1, 1 and 2. It's looking very O-like. We're going to do 4 single crochets again. We're going to do our last corner. We're going to have 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to slip stitch it to close it up, and we have an O. So we're going to make 1 more the same way. Make sure when you cut off your yarn, you leave a nice long tail for sewing. start our bag, we're going to start with 2 strands held together. We're going to make a slip knot and using our 5.5. We're going to chain 15. You're going to have to be careful that you get both strands through there. It's going to be a lot for this hook, but we're using this size to get a nice tight weave. Now, we're going to start by working on the back side. Do you see these bumps? These are the bottoms of the stitch, and we're going to work single crochets through those, making sure you get one of each color since we have 2 strands. I'm going to skip the first one and start in this one with single crochets. If you want a wider bag, you can go ahead and chain as many as you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a basic guide to the size that I did. I will meet you when we get to the end. I have one more left. This is our slip knot right here. I'm going to do 3 in this one so we can kind of wrap around, make kind of like a little curve around the back. So 1, 2, back in that same hole for the 3rd. Now we're going to go across the tops. And this is my slip knot and my tail. I'm just gonna let this go right in here so I can cover it up a little bit, less to weave in later, but we're gonna start right after this slip knot. Let's get that covered up and the rest should be easier, but you see how we made a little turn around the end. So I will keep going and I'll meet you when we get over here. Alright, I'm almost there. I'm just going to go ahead and let the rest of these tails hang to the back. I've covered enough. I'm going to do the last few single crochets in this round. Last one. And now I'm just going to do a slip stitch. There we go. That's our first round. So we want our bag to be a little wider. Here is the base of the green bag. So we're going to do another round. We're going to start with a chain 1, just to get away from our work a little bit, get enough height, and we're going to single crochet till we get to right here at the end where we're going to do 3. So let's start across here. And when you go through, you're going to be going under 4 strands. There's the 2 sides of the loop that each have 2 strands. You do start to get the feel for working with so many strands at once. Your hands will be a little more tired than usual because you're crocheting tightly. Alright, I will meet you down here at this end. Alright, I'm almost to that end point. I'm going to do 3 single crochets into this one. Here's the first one, second one, and third one. Now we're going to go all the way across again, and I'll meet you right here. Alright, You're almost to that end. We want to make a curve. Here is our starting stitch. That's our chain one. I'm going to ignore the chain one, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more single crochets in this one where I just did 1. So there'll be 3 to get us around this curve. And then I'm going to slip stitch to that first single crochet. This is always tricky. Oof, we got through. Slip stitch. And here is our base. Now I'm doing a thin little bag. This will be the inside. We can trim this later. But now we need to make the bag go up. And how we do that is we're going to crochet around in the back loops only. So we're going to start with a chain one. Now here's our little stitches. Normally you'd go through like that. We're going to go in the back loops only, so just these furthest away from you. So here is how it's going to look. We're just going to go all the way around. We don't need to do the 3 single crochets at the ends. We're not trying to make it bigger, we're just trying to go straight up. But you see how that's making it turn, making a nice little edge. So we're going to keep on going around. Alright, I have done my last one. This is my chain one, and this is my first stitch. So I'm just going to do a regular slip stitch into both loops. And here is our base. It's like a little pickle-shaped boat. So now we're just going to start making it taller, and we're going to do simple rounds of single crochet. We're going to start with a chain one and then slip stitch at the end, ignoring the chain one. And to start, I like to go into the starting stitch. You could skip that and go into that and count your chain one, whatever you want to do. We're just going to go around. We're not going to add stitches unless you want it to get wider. But I'm going to go ahead and do a few rows. I want to have about 4 up here. So I already have 1 that back loops only. So I'm going to do 3 more in this orange before I switch this strand out. Alright, I've got 1 more stitch to go in my 4 rows, and now I need to slip stitch. But since I want to change one of these colors, first I'm going to cut that off and grab my new strand. I'm going to hold those tails together. Now I'm going to do my slip stitch with the purple, pull it through, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to do 4 more rounds, this time with the purple. Start with a chain and then get going with our single crochets. Alright, I am going to change colors again. The purple strand is going to go orange. Just finish up this row. But before I slip stitch, again, we're going to cut just the purple, grab our orange, hold the 2 tails together. Now we've got our new 2 strands, and we can slip stitch. So I'm going to do 3 more rounds with the orange and black, and I'll see you when I'm done. All right, I have finished my orange rows and switched over to my purple and black again, and I am going to do 4 more rounds with the purple and black, and then we'll be ready for this top trim and the straps. All right, I have made it to the end of all my rows, but instead of slip stitching, I'm just gonna pull through my yarn through my last single crochet before the slip stitch. I'm gonna put my yarn on here. Now here's where I would be slip stitching through, so I'm going to put the needle through there instead. And do you see where this yarn that I'm pulling is coming out of? We're gonna go right back in there. And look, it's like nothing ever happened. Magic. Since I have these on my needle already, I'm just gonna weave it in. I did run out of black at one point, so I have a couple extra tails here that I'll need to weave in where I added more black. I just like to do zigzags since this is already like a marled effect from using 2 different color strands. You can't really see it. I'm gonna switch and go perpendicular. And that is probably good for that. All right, here is our bag, and we are ready to start our straps. So I'm just gonna look over here on the end here. This is about the midpoint. I'm actually gonna slip stitch it to here and then single crochet here. I want a nice strong base for my strap. So when I do my slip stitches to attach, I pull a loop through, I kind of catch my tails between there and then pull through. So we're attached. I'm going to single crochet here, and now I'm going to chain 50. You can of course play around with that length. We are going to be coming back across this once we attach over here to make it thicker, and we're going to be working in the back loops. So don't make it too tight, but you want to make sure you don't do what I just did, get both of those strands through there. All right, I'll see you when I have 50. I now have 50 chains, and I am going to be slip stitching and single crocheting over on the other side, but what's important is making sure it is not twisted. So we want this top layer to just kind of go up in a arch, a rainbow shape, and stay in the same orientation on this other side. So I am kind of going to be working from the inside of the purse to not twist that. So I've slip stitched it, and I'm going to do a single crochet to get that on there well. Now we can turn slightly, and we are going to go back along it. So normally, to work into the stitch, we would be coming through both of these loops like this. We're not going to do that. We're going to make it a little easier on ourselves and just go through these back loops. So just this, just that, just that. So I'll do a few with you. just these back loops, single crochet. You'll find it works up a lot faster doing back loops only in a chain. It can be a little fussy to try to get through the full stitch, especially with 2 strands. So this is going to give us a nice strong strap, and I'm just going to continue on till I get to the other end. All right, that was my last one. We are going to slip stitch it down. And there's our strap. But we're going to leave this connected, and we're going to go straight into our trim here. And we are also going to give ourselves a little loop and bobble so we can close the purse. So we're going to want to watch for our center, like 2 stitches or so. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to slip stitch to make our trim. We're going to stop when we get near that center point. All right, how are we looking? Almost there. Again, you don't have to be too particular. You just want it to look good. You can eyeball it, you can count it. Here we are. I am going to do one more slip stitch, I think, and then I'm going to do a big bobbled style stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over like I was doing like a double crochet, but do you see how I'm holding this a little bit away? I'm not like making it tight. I'm going to have to pull through a lot of loops, so I'm going to try to keep this needle up. I'm going to pull another one up. I'm going to call these 1, even though they're 2 strands. So 1, 2, 3. Yarn over. We have 4. Pull one up. We have 5. Yarn over. We have 6. Pull one up. We have 7. Technically, we have 14 strands of yarn here, but it's 7 loops. I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull this yarn over through. I find that if I wiggle a little bit, I can get through. Sometimes we get caught on something and I just have to fix it. You can always just release the stitch and try again. Sometimes it takes a couple tries to get a really good one. I'm going to tug this so it forms more of a little ball, and do a nice tight chain to seal it off. And I'm also going to slip stitch into the same stitch to really make it into a little ball. So we've got quite a lot going on in this one stitch, but now we can continue around, and we're going to stop around the same point on the other side to make a loop. So let's keep slip stitching and meet me where this strap is, and I will show you how we handle that. Alright, I've come to one of my straps, and what I'm going to do is just chain 2 and skip right over that, and then I'm going to go back to my slip stitches. And it's just going to go over top of that, just like that. Then I'm going to keep going. Remember, we're going to be stopping in the middle, wherever it lines up with that bobble you made. Let's line this up flat. And here's our bobble. So we're gonna go to about here. I've got three till we get there. Right, here we are. I went ahead and slip stitched in that one. Now we're gonna do a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna test it. I did 8 on the other bag. I feel like this orange yarn is slightly different. I feel like I might want 7 or 8 again. So again, I'm gonna test it just by wrapping my loop around. You know, I think I'm gonna go 8. And now I'm gonna slip stitch again in the same spot. We have a little loop, and I'm gonna continue around to the next strap.
One, two, three,
So here we are. I'm gonna do another chain 2 to go in front of that strap. But we are now ready to end this out. So I'm gonna slip stitch once in here, and then blend it in by cutting our yarns off, pulling this through. I'm gonna take my needles, put both those strands through. And I'm gonna go under there and through there. To hide our connection. And I'm gonna weave this end in. I think I'm gonna take it up the strap. I'm gonna go back and forth. I like to split through strands of yarn because I feel like that's even more secure. And I do switchbacks. And when you see me wiggling this, I'm really trying to like weave in and out of multiple strands of yarn. And then I will cut that off. All right. So we have our little bag. Now if you weren't decorating this, you would be done. But I'm gonna go ahead and attach our letters. Okay, we are ready to sew our letters on. It looks like a big mess because we have such long tails, but I'm gonna prep this one by just getting this extra tail out of the way. It doesn't have to be too neatly woven in because it's just gonna be in the back, sewn down. Nobody will see it. So I'm just doing a couple passes and cutting that off. And now we are ready to use this tail to sew on our letter. I start with the center letter because I want to center it right under our little fastener here. And I'm going to use these 2 stripes to give me my size. Once I've done that, I'll be able to center my other two letters within the space that is left for them. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one. And when I sew on crochet appliques, I prefer to not go like little stitches around because I don't like how it looks. I connect mine just underneath through the little posts in between these stitches because I like to have that top layer of stitches nice and clean. It does make the edge ruffle up, so this is going to be personal preference, but I think it looks so much nicer. So that's what I'm going to do. You can do yours anyway, but I will show you a portion of this. So I'm going to keep this down. I make sure I only go through like 2 strands of yarn at a time. Let me see where this is coming out. I want to get this over towards the edge. So I'm gonna actually pull that closer to my edge, see where it is. It's about here, so I'm gonna get a couple strands. I really like these angled tapestry needles because you can get under here. You can get a little fussy. And I'm gonna go through like the post, not all of it. Sometimes I like to split the yarn. I'm gonna make sure I'm staying straight, and yeah, I just kind of check where the stitch is. That's how I judge where I'm gonna pull a couple loops up. Don't pull too much because then it'll show on the inside, and then go through a couple strands on the underside of that. So this is already starting to hold down. Go around a bit more. You can really use your stitches and stitch placement to shape the letter. So take your time and make sure you're happy with it. So I just widened that a little bit, and I'm going to make sure I stay really straight when I go up that side, and then I'm going to want to widen this out and go straight. We don't want it to be like that, or actually that would be cute too because it's like ooh boo, you can do whatever, but I'm going to make this one straight. So I'm going to work on this and I'll come back when I'm ready for my next letter. So I just finished going around the edge of my O, but I do want to go around the inside as well. So I'm going to weave this tail through to get there. This is where this bent needle's really going to come in handy because you want to get under there. You don't want to go out here. You're going to see the stitches. So I'm going to really get under. And then go under and get part of that post of the stitch. I just want to do a few all the way around so that it's not wiggling. And then I can just weave it in, cut it off, and do the other letters. But you can see right here, it's nice and solid. So I'm just going to finish that up. Now when I'm doing the bee, I really make sure I get this section nice and straight. So far I've connected from here all the way to here, and then I can curve in the rest. So we want the back of the bee to be nice and straight. All right, I have stitched my letters on. When I got to the center part of the bee, I made some little straight stitches through both sides to really close it up. But again, you want to make sure you really took some time to keep that side straight so it doesn't turn into an 8, just a curvy bee. You can zhuzh them a little. But there we go. Our final bag. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps YouTube know that other people might be interested in these videos, and then we can build a whole big, cozy, crafty family. I would love to see your little boo bag if you make one. So follow me on social media and share a picture. And yeah, please come back for the next video. I can't wait to see you again. And yeah, stay safe.